Life lesson number 7. Don't be afraid to ask. Now, I see this a lot in people's lives, and I do sometimes hesitate in my own life. And it all depends on what subject we're talking about here, whether it's personal, whether it's business, or whether it's in your career. Because I think it makes a difference depending on what's going on in your life. But I see 2 issues here. The first one is if someone is afraid to ask, what that's telling me is they're either afraid of rejection or they're afraid of judgment. So when someone would say no to them, that means they've rejected them. But they could then, when someone's asked, is feel judged by asking in the first place, especially if it's something difficult. But we shouldn't be afraid to ask. And we shouldn't really clutter our minds up with the fear of rejection and the fear of judgment, because that's someone else's concern, not ours. I can assure you from my own experience, if you ask on a regular basis, you're more likely to get a yes. But it's how we see ourselves that can also have an effect on this. I.e., if I see myself as someone who gets what they want when they ask, my expectation is already high, and I'm not going to get offended if they say no. You position it in your mind, 1, it's a lot healthier, and 2, you've got more chance of achieving what you're trying to get. There's a caveat here, right? We're not talking about asking for things that are ridiculous. We're just talking about, them times when you want to ask someone something and you feel a bit hesitant, or you don't ask at all. I've been in that situation where I've hesitated, asked, got what I wanted. I've just wasted a load of time worrying about something that didn't actually happen. And we are like that as human beings. We tend to worry about things, and 95% of the things we worry about will probably never happen anyway. So why not ask anyway? Full stop. The worst that can happen. And if you present it in your mind before you ask the question, what's the worst that can happen? They can say no. And they might think I'm a bit silly, or they might judge me. So what? That's their business. It's not going to kill you. It's not going to end your life. You're not going to hide under a rock for the rest of your life. So next time you find yourself in a situation where you really would like to ask something, but you're afraid of the response. I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I was in a meeting with about 15 people. These were high up executives. And the guy who was leading the meeting was a prominent business leader. And he mentioned a word that I didn't understand. The word was procrastination. And the problem with language is if you don't understand a word in the context it's been delivered, it can lose paragraph. The whole concept of what he's talking about can be lost. And because I didn't understand what it meant, so I put my hand up and asked him what that was. They all laughed. It wasn't a laugh out loud. It was a snigger. But I was prepared for that. The guy who was holding the meeting picked up on this, and he just looked round the room at everybody else and said, there's no such thing as a stupid question. If you don't know, you don't know. And he said, thank you for asking. And he told me what procrastination meant. And then what he was talking about, in the context he was talking about, made sense to me. But I could have ignored that feeling of, I could have been overwhelmed or too embarrassed to ask that question, but I wasn't. I put my embarrassment to the side for 1 minute because it was more important to me to understand what this guy was talking about, because we'd paid a lot of money to be there. Otherwise, I've wasted my time. If you don't understand something, it might not be you're asking for something in return. You could be asking for something because you don't understand. And we have that embarrassment, that judgment. Oh, they're going to judge me because I'm thick or I'm stupid. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Yes, some people are cruel and they're going to take the mickey. That's what they do. People are who they are. But to get the best out of life, to understand things, sometimes you have to ask questions and take yourself out your comfort zone and make yourself feel a bit silly. So what? I'm not going to judge you. If you want something, ask. This concept can set you free. If once you get past that awkwardness, that feeling of, oh no, put it to one side. And this concept of asking doesn't just come down to one thing of, I want something, I want you to give it to me. It could be knowledge. It could be asking someone to do something for you. It just comes down to the fact that we don't feel comfortable asking for something where we're either going to feel rejected or judged. So until next time.